Wellington Rugby TV, welcome back. The end of the Swindale Shield. We've got a Swindale Shield champion, and it's no coincidence that the Swindale Shield champion coach is sitting next to me, Gerrard Fasavalu. Mate, congratulations. That's a big smile on there.
Thanks, Bundy. Oh, I mean, what can you say? Look, everyone worked hard for it, not just the players, but support crew and those who battle the weather, who turn up every Saturday to support. So it was really for them, not just the playing group, but for everyone involved and as well as the community.
We'll come back to that. I want to take time, turn the old clock back, mate. Yeah. Turn the clock back. Gerrard Fasavalu, I first remember you as the winger who just carved people to pieces on the wing for St Pat's Town, New Zealand under-20s. Mate, then you disappeared. Where'd you go?
So my first year out of school, I was quite lucky to be one of what they call the terrible foursome back then. Was Ricky Flutie, Shannon Paku, Jerry Collins and myself being the first to be inducted into the Wellington's first year of academy.
Yep.
After that, I decided to venture down south to do studies, but also run North Otago and the Highlanders.
Then you went over the ditch.
Yes, so a lot of people know, so my career ended just as it started. I had a horrific knee injury, so I had a full back-to-back knee recon, so I thought, might as well do my studies.
How are they going now?
Oh, no good in winter.
No,
oh,
you can tell when it's going to rain, eh?
Yeah, shot.
Exactly.
Absolutely
yeah, right.
Shot. So after I graduated from Otago, came up to Wellington, taught for just under a year, and then decided to just venture off to Australia, do something a bit different and spend the next 11 years in Australia.
In Sydney?
In Sydney, yes.
In Sydney, and rugby-wise, so you got there?
I took no part in rugby for the first 4 or 5 years. Then I got roped into a club called Northern Sotheby's over there. So at the time, Nick Fitzimanu was just leaving Northern United, so I went over there, spent some time there. Then a couple of ex-Norths boys were playing for Parramatta 2 Blues. And at the time, they didn't have...
Who was that?
Lualua Vailoaloa.
Yeah. Little halfback.
Little halfback.
Try in the Jubilee Cup final in 2004.
Yes.
I remember it.
Yes. Chip and chase.
Yes, I do remember it. Lovely bounce. Yeah, great.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. Okay, anyway, yes, great try.
And then from Northern Suburbs, I ventured out to the city of Parramatta and spent the next 5-6 years with the Parramatta 2 Blues premier team.
Coaching was a thing that you always thought you might get into, or you sort of got dragged kicking and screaming into and then thought, yeah, I can do this, or...
Actually, I got dragged into it.
Yeah.
Before I left for Australia in end of 2005, Norths didn't have an assistant coach for their Colts team that year. So I jumped on board and helped the Colts, and we won the Div 2 that year, and then they went on to Div 1 in 2006 and won that. So that's how I kind of got roped into coaching, but after playing, after the career ended, there was no aspirations to coach.
You arrived back in Wellington to 2012?
End of 2015.
2015, gee, time flies. What brought you back?
It's actually a funny story. It was actually based on a promise. Jerry used to, every time he would stop in Sydney, he would stay with my wife Alana and myself, and one night we're having dinner and just a few too many beers. He kept on nagging me to come back and coach.
As he could. As
you do. Coach Norths, and I just kept on just pumping. I was saying, oh, you know, they're okay, they're in good hands, and then coincidentally, unfortunately, when he passed away, my wife just reminded me, she was like, remember that promise you get? I know it was only yourself and Jerry and I in the room, but you've got to keep your promise. So we uprooted the family, came back to Wellington. Actually, I did, because I spent the first 11 months away from my wife and my 2 daughters.
Yeah.
For 11 months just to settle in and get things up and running. Then my wife and my 2 girls arrived in June 2016, June, July.
Fantastic story. You came back, went into Norths. Things were sort of like a little bit rocky for a while there. Mm-hmm. The results weren't what the Norths faithful had been used to knowing, I suppose.
Yeah.
You put your crew around you, and then you started the role to where we are today. What did you think when you first went back there and had a look at the lie of the land?
It was different. Just obviously being away from Wellington, I wasn't quite sure what what was happening in-house, as well as the results, and that was a reflection of it. So for me, coming back, it was almost a clean slate. I didn't have any expectations, and I'm not too sure whether the general public from Porirua had expectations on myself, but it was just, I looked at it as, it is what it is. This is the calibre of players I've got to work with, and this is where I've got to build the base. And so the first thing I decided to do was get people who basically played for Norths to come back and support and get a good team around myself and get just genuinely good people.
Rob Aloe, of course, one of those.
Definitely.
Little Jeffrey, he'll help me say that. But he's in and around and still with you. I was lucky enough, mate, on Friday night to be asked back to be part of the 2018 celebrations leading into Old Timers Day, and some fantastic names in the house that night. Anare Koliabu, Tim Faliafunga, Rob, Daly Harper, the list went on and on and on. Nigel Bickle gave a presentation that night about some stuff happening off-field at North. Give us a little bit of insight into that and what perhaps we can see in the future.
With that, we're very lucky to have Nigel on board, and he's been a huge driver for us off-field, just looking after in terms of making the club more sustainable, not just on the playing aspect, but also the future governance of the club itself, in terms of how do we engage with the community. There's not only Nigel, we've got a lot of great and business-minded people that have all jumped on board. So from our perspective, there's some exciting things that are happening within the club, and not just working within Wellington, but also taking North and just working globally. We've got a few global athletes on the books who will be, over the next couple of weeks, will be releasing. So I can't say any names now, but all I can say is watch the space. But in saying that, we are on the up, but in saying that, we're far away from the end product. There's still a lot of things that we need to address and get right. If we can fix all the off-field stuff, I think all the on-field, the player retention, looking after the junior schools and the local catchment, but also engaging with our community, not just the local businesses, but also the retirement village. And there's also getting the players to basically...
You do some really cool things at the retirement village.
Yes.
You tell us what you do. I've seen it, so...
Yeah, so Russell Kemp, so once a year and sometimes twice, we send the entire Premier Reserves, and this year we included the women's. So we'll go there, we'll sing songs, have one-on-ones with a lot of the patrons there at the village, as well as do a couple of the ladies' nails, and just share stories more than anything, and it's life lessons for a lot of these young players in terms of giving them a perspective of what's real, what's not real, and just engaging in terms of with the general public. And that, like I said, the players in the club, the biggest stakeholders of our club are our people. You play for the people.
I wouldn't get away without mentioning the 100 Club, Dino. Been a great supporter over the years, and something that Norths, I think, is well known for. The bus pulls up and the blue and white wave gets off. We'll talk about Saturday in a minute, but I get the feeling there's a little bit of a resurrection there. There's a little bit of, and winning helps, I know that, but there's that sort of backbone still there and behind the club, still supporting everything you guys do.
Oh, definitely, and they are the backbone of the club. As the people, they're the unsung heroes, and they're the heroes that don't wear capes and don't get recognised enough. The 100 Club and Dino's done a fantastic job in pulling a lot of people, not just from Te Rebe, but also from the eastern suburbs, just around the Porirua catchment. And just the people like the Muscles and the Ron Woods, who just work tirelessly in the background, the ladies in the bar and kitchen. Those are the people that should get all the kudos, as well as the playing group.
Rolled a Saturday, and it was a big day for the club. We'll talk about your team in a minute, but the Harper Lock Shield side in a head-to-head with MSP to win that grade. But at 11:30, the women's team came out and put Parramatta Plymouth into the sword, I guess, and won the Rebecca Luiana Trophy for the first round. They didn't win it last year. Always have been the dominant team, but that women's side this year, some new players. Matt's done a pretty good job with them, and they were impressive on Saturday. So they were tick one in the box, weren't they?
Yes.
The crowd at Porirua Park on Saturday, mate, I was there from 11:30 on, was just sensational.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it was good to have a lot of families come there. Had the free sausage sizzle, had the 3 jumping castles there, and as well as the club and the Cornerstone putting on 2 huge pigs, as well as the catering through Baxter's. the support of a lot of the people that have been working in the background who don't want to be recognised, but we know who put their hand up in terms of helping us out and really just driving us. So it was a fantastic day overall. It was a nightmare to find the park though.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. The Harper Shield boys didn't quite get there, but it was just rolling through the day. We got to kick off. I have to say there was a weight restriction on the bouncy castle. They wouldn't let me on, but anyway. The start of your game, the Haka, the Colts, there was a big group out there. Again, that was bringing the club together, I guess. That was the idea behind that.
Oh, it is. And that's what I mean in terms of sustainability, is that we're only as strong as the next team, and especially our Colts. So one of the things that we've tried to do this year is we train together on Tuesdays, so that way it removes complacency from the Premier Group. No one owns that jersey, but also engages them with a lot of these guys that have just left school and some who are still in school, reaching out to a community. But also it was paid a respect in terms of the land that we play on, which is Ngāti Toa Mana Whenua, and so hence the reason why that it is the home of Kamate, and that's why we're having the Kaumatoa Taku up there. It was just we had the blessing of Ngāti Toa, and hence the reason why old timers was pay respects to all the old boys and old girls of the club, and the patrons of Poriroa and the Ngāti Toa iwi.
Win and you get the Swindale Shield, 45-0 at half time. Whatever you said before worked. What'd you say at half time?
I think I talked too much at half time.
Oh, okay. Righto.
I think I talked too much.
You managed to get there though. Swindale Shield locked away.
Yep.
Big night, I understand, on Saturday night, as it should be celebrated the way through. I had a look at the first round. You only lost 2 games in the first round, Hutt Old Boys and Paniki. 516 points scored. He scored 75 tries.
Yes.
Obviously an attacking flair in this side that comes back to some of the past teams we know about, and you reel off the names: Leua, Popoali'i, Ellison, Neni and AJ. This team here has the ability to score tries. It's a young backline though. Tell me about some of the young key kids in the backline.
Very young. We have a young winger, junior, Time Tautua, who hasn't quite turned 18 yet.
7 tries first round.
7 tries first round. Keenan Higgins, who's just finished high school, just turned 18. Denny To'o, who's turning 19. So I think Jackson might be the oldest in the team at 22, in the back line.
Yeah.
So we've got a very, very young team, which is pleasing for myself and the future coaches of Norths in terms of the calibre of players we do have. But at the same time, we've got a young forward pack as well. Very young, so which is good for us, but it's getting the balance right. We've got a few old heads in there. We've got 5 guys who are 100+ Premier players, so it's getting that balance right in terms of just that mentoringship. Not just that during Saturdays, but also at trainings, off the field, and away from the perimeters of the club. Well
led by Parakura.
Yes.
Kura's been around for a long time, come back from serious knee injury. And has slipped into that role. Fala, you talked about Fala Tuala. There's a lot of guys that have been there. You've been lucky, I guess, to have Duplessis Karifi playing through the first round, and Jackson and Lenny Upasai from Blues. So that's the experience, I guess, that brings those younger guys up. And when they walk in that change room, it just gives it that little polished edge.
Oh, definitely. And we're lucky and fortunate with those guys that when they do get the opportunity, they come back and give back to the club. But the big thing with them is between the ears, just the knowledge that they part on with a lot of the younger guys.
Jubilee Cup, here we go. Was 8, now 7. Kicks off this weekend. It's the old chestnut. A lot of teams that win the Swindale can't seem to sort of drift away into the Jubilee Cup round. How are you going to stop that happening?
I think a lot of it is just mental. As I said to the guys on Saturday, obviously they worked hard for the first 13 rounds and deserved to win Swindale, but come 12 o'clock Sunday morning, from my perspective as a coach, Swindale's gone. Whatever happened then, that's gone. Enjoy it, embrace it, but at the same time, Jubilee Cup is a different beast altogether.
Oh, yes.
We're not going to have that luxury, and we're not going to score as many points as we did, and teams are going to do their homework. So if anything, the work rate needs to go up, but also just be smarter in terms of what we're doing at training.
I thought you might have brought the Swindale with you this morning.
No, I think it's in Samoa at the moment.
Oh, is it? Oh, nice. Having a bit of a break. Excellent. That's good. I've got plenty of suntan lotion. Right, you kick off this week. Paniki was one of the teams that knocked you over. Let's have a look at the Jubilee Cup round. You're at home, so back to the fortress, Puniki, this week.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from them?
Well-trained outfit. The big clubs, the Patonis, the Maris, as well as the Pornikis, OBUs, they've been the mainstays of Jubilee Cup for the last 2-3 decades. So, as the guys last night, you give Porniki the respect that they deserve. But as soon as the whistle blows, we've just got to go about our own work and focus on what we have to do. We can't put too much focus on the opposition, then we neglect what we have to do and do right. So for us, it's really the 1%ers. The last couple of weeks, things that didn't go right for us, address it, and make sure that we manage it and put our best foot forward.
Ori's MSP, be a tough one for MSP, going to the polo ground.
Polo ground. That eastern battle is always hard between the three, Porniki, MSP and Ori's. It's always hard in the eastern suburbs. So that'll be another physical encounter. But Ori's, they're a tough team at home. I mean, any team is tough at home.
Tawa at home against Hutt Old Boys. Be the same situation.
Oh, it'll be the same situation. So there's no easy
You're doing
beats.
a good job of sitting on the fence here, just by the way.
No, it's just, there's no easy beats in this competition. And as I said, Jubilee Cup is a different beast altogether. There's not going to be 40, 50-point margins. There'll be close encounters. And really, my thoughts on Jubilee Cup is that there is no second life. You can't look at back in hindsight and say, oh, we should have done this. You only get one chance and one chance only.
OBU's got the bye this week. Gerrard, thanks for joining us, mate. Congratulations.
No
We're now on the big dance floor, though, and we'll watch this rolling through the next 3 weeks. Jubilee Cup action Saturday afternoon, the Hardham Cup also, and the last round of the Rebecca Luiana women's competition. Wellington Rugby TV, Ross Bond, we're into the business end of the season. Let's watch how it pans out in the next few weeks.